Chapter 145. Cough, cough, the throaty sound of the lava dragon echoed. In his mouth, large chunks of phlegm were gathering. Yes, it was lava being compressed. The temperature was getting higher and higher. Phew! The sound of spitting out a chunk of lava phlegm echoed. A dense ball of lava was shot straight into the distance. Then, this ball of lava fell into a forest full of yellow flowers. Both of them stared. It didn't seem to be very powerful. Disappointment shone in the eyes of the lava dragon. The mutant buffalo also couldn't believe his eyes. What kind of weak dragon was this? The nine-tailed fox up high silently observed everything, knowing that the evolution process of the lava dragon had succeeded. At this time they were just testing the new strength. Where the ball of lava fell, a large hole was created, not very deep, but still smoldering, creating columns of black smoke. The lava dragon was still shocked, thinking there should have been an earth-shattering explosion, but it was not like that at all, really quite disappointed. The lava dragon realized that this new ability required too much physical strength. It was hard to maintain this state stably. It seems that the lava dragon is just a state of the mutant crocodile, isn't it? Thinking of this, the lava dragon felt that he had a lot of work to do, so he said to the mutant buffalo, "Perhaps you should go." There was nothing left for the mutant buffalo here. So he turned his back and left. Suddenly, Nine Tails felt a few strong breaths, couldn't help but startle. She wondered who this aura was from. It seemed to have a very familiar aura. At the divine well, the divine flower and the mutant leopard were receiving a human guest. He definitely came to detoxify. He was one of the strong warriors of the human race. After the transaction was completed, the poison on him had been completely resolved. But this guy still needed to ask carefully, "So the poison has been resolved?" The divine flower was uncomfortable. She smirked and replied, "Yes." It seemed that the divine flower did not like this guy. She had nothing more to say. This guy of course knew that he was no longer poisoned. Even his body and spiritual power felt a bit more refreshed. But he was still surprised. He didn't expect that the poison that the illustrious scientists of the human race couldn't resolve could be resolved here. The more he thought about it, the more mysterious it seemed. Then he turned his back and left. The mutant leopard asked the divine flower in confusion, "Why didn't you sign a contract with him?" But the divine flower immediately refused. "This guy is very deep, extremely desirous, he is extremely greedy, he will definitely not give in to us." I guess that the divine flower had secretly manipulated and checked this guy's mind. For this reason, this guy could not become the lucky recipient of the high-end treatment of Misty Mountain. It was indeed a harsh recruitment. This masked man, perhaps a member of Dragon Corp, when he went out, met a woman, greeted her and left. Of course, Shaoling said nothing. She silently stepped into the divine well with her people. Two old friends met again. It was only now that the divine flower moved her pretty lips and smiled gently. Her deep blue eyes looked at Shaoling. The divine flower softly said, "Long time no see." Shaoling as usual silently looked at the divine flower. Now, her role is still a city manager of the China Federation, so it is not convenient to reminisce about the past, she understood in her heart. The nine-tailed fox and the wind wolf jumped out to block Shaoling's path. Their faces were very fierce, as if they were about to fight, but in fact, they just wanted to smell Shaoling. They missed her all the time. Shaoling had a gentle smile on her lips. She gently said, "Finally, I can meet everyone in a fair and square manner." Indeed, it has been too long since she brought this body to Misty Mountain. She only used her soul. Shaoling glanced at the divine flower and said, "I have brought a large amount of goods." Shaoling was not surprised by the appearance of the divine flower, because she had known for a long time. Then, Shaoling handed over the goods to her subordinates for inventory. While she and another person went inside, this person always covered her head. Looking a bit mysterious, Shaoling went inside the forbidden palace of the divine tree, saw him shining brightly. He was in the process of evolving to the transcendent fourth order. Shaoling stood silently admiring. It was too beautiful. Shaoling asked the nine-tailed fox next to her, "How long has the master been in this state?" The nine-tailed fox softly replied, "A month already." The big eyes of the divine tree seemed to have fallen asleep. Snake Girl and Panda were lurking nearby. Snake Girl asked Panda, "Hey, who is that girl?" It was a new soldier who didn't know anything. Cheesy immediately explained, "That's the daughter of the Divine Tree. Besides me, she is the person that the Divine Tree trusts the most." Shaoling took out a treasure in her hand. The light from the treasure seemed too strong, piercing through the gaps in her fingers and radiating out. Shaoling noticed that the Divine Tree had advanced deeply into the upgrade process, as if he had fallen into a coma. Shaoling opened her hand. "This is an essence of a thunderstone. In other words, it is the compressed form of countless thunderstones, therefore it is considered a treasure in the world." Shaoling let go of her hand. This essence of the spirit stone slowly flew towards the eye of the Divine Tree. It was immediately absorbed into the eye of the Divine Tree, and the absorption process began. Shaoling looked to the left. Two heads were sticking out. Huh, are they two lurkers? There is also Lan Feng leaning against the tree trunk looking cool. Lan Feng felt uncomfortable when she saw Shaoling staring at him. He said, "Why are you staring at me?" Indeed, Lan Feng only has feelings for mutant mice. Shaoling didn't bother to talk to this weird guy. She just said, "Your sister has been brought here. She is waiting in the bamboo forest." As soon as these words came out, Lan Feng froze for 5 seconds. His sister is more precious than his life. He has used all his efforts to search but has not found her at all, yet someone has brought her here. It's too absurd, but also too wonderful. At the 6th second, he turned into a shadow and rushed away like crazy. Shaoling stayed with the Divine Tree. She said goodbye. "I should go too, this time I go. Everyone is watching, I can't stay long, I still have a lot of things to deal with." Suddenly, from the canopy of the Divine Tree, a green leaf fell right in front of Shaoling. This also startled Shaoling. A leaf emitting a faint green light, clearly a valuable item, accompanied by a message from the Divine Tree. "If you encounter danger, this leaf will save you a life." Shaoling had a smile on her lips and said, "Thank you, Master." This is Luo. In his country, he is standing in front of a desolate scene. It seems there is a war. Luo's face is full of blood. He screams to justify himself. "I did not betray humanity. Why?" Luo was beaten down into a hole by dozens of strong men. These powerful people stood above the hole and shouted, "We don't believe you!" Among the crowd, an old man with white hair and beard shouted, "Luo, you suddenly became so strong. Does it have anything to do with Misty Mountain?" Another warrior added loudly, "If it's just detoxification, why don't the peace warriors of the China Federation become stronger? Only you become stronger." Indeed, like the masked man earlier, he was not buffed with strength and spiritual power, just detoxification. Seemingly tired, Luo didn't want to argue anymore. He took out 2 drops of life essence, carefully stored in 2 small bottles, and shouted, "It's because I exchanged this from Misty Mountain." Everyone immediately focused their attention on these 2 small bottles. They constantly emitted a brilliant green light. Luo wiped the blood from his mouth and shouted loudly, "If you want it, take it, but from now on don't bother me anymore." Then, Luo generously threw these 2 small bottles towards the crowd, very decisively. 2 small bottles containing 2 drops of life essence, floating in space for not yet 2 seconds, the crowd went crazy, their eyes lit up with extreme greed, they rushed to compete. Indeed, as strong as Luo, who wouldn't want a chance? Alone, after returning from that divine well, he had confronted dozens of powerful men here, so even if they died, they would want to seize this divine drop. Could Luo be lying? Of course, no one is free to analyze, because if you are slow for 1 second, others will snatch it away. So the battle continues, only without Luo. Luo, like an emperor, left the greedy crowd behind and left. His eyes lit up with a deadly light, a very cunning face. End of chapter 146.